With Roe v. Wade overturned, as men, how do you feel? I typically consider myself a very conservative person on so many issues. Since the leak, I've been mulling this over in my head and found that I have many more liberal ideologies than I originally thought. Specifically these two. All healthcare is a right. All marriage is a right. I will probably find myself voting much differently next time around. Live in Missouri, where a trigger law from 2019 will now take effect that not only bans abortions, but also effectively bans IVF fertility treatments. My wife and I are going through IVF now. So couples who are trying to actively bring life into this world that can't naturally do so because of medical problems will not be allowed to because of a law that is trying to preserve life. Question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. Edit. Our fertility clinic sent out an email to patients stating that they are finding out how exactly it will impact operations and treatments, since they don't know the exact implications of the law either. They are committed to providing fertility treatments including IVF in a legal manner. As a married man with a beautiful little boy and another 90% complete, if my wife got pregnant again and I had to choose between her or our unborn baby, I'd choose her in a heartbeat. For the people that are getting this confused with revoking an amendment, it is not. What it means is your local/state elections just got a whole lot more important if you have a strong opinion on the issue. Vote. Shift the power at the local/state level if it is a big issue for you. I lean towards states' rights over federal, but am also pro-choice in a red state, so voting *BASED on issues, not affiliation, is as important as it ever has been. I'm fucking furious. I can't remember the last time I felt like this. I don't even know what words to use to describe it. Hopefully this will be the impetus pro-choice people need to take RBG's advice and pass laws instead of expecting the Supreme Court to legislate from the bench. My wife and I aborted our first and likely only pregnancy due to extreme birth defects at 22 weeks. I feel very strongly about abortion and don't wish it on anyone. That being said, I can't imagine what we would have gone through carrying that fetus to term. Watching it die in the womb, stillborn, or best case scenario, extremely disabled with no quality of life. Guess I better set up that vasectomy appointment my wife's been hounding me to do. It is an ominous sign and a trigger for what is yet to come. Same thing I've felt over the last 40 years. Why is no administration passing national legislation regarding abortion and marriage rights? This has no place being in the Supreme Court. Not a single president in 40 years has even bothered sponsoring a bill regarding these. This is one of those I told you so moments. These issues shouldn't be with the Supreme Court. They were only placed there at first as a holdover until national legislation could be passed. But national legislation not only has never passed, it's never even been presented. Gonna be a lot more dead kids, dumpster babies, teen girls with complications from illegal abortions. Doesn't seem very pro-life. More unwanted babies will be born. They'll likely grow up unloved and uncared for. I see an increase in crime and health issues in a couple of decades. I don't like it. I'm seriously thinking that I should mention my vasectomy in my next Tinder bio. Before the news broke, I only said it as a sort of nervous joke, but now I'm thinking it might actually be a completely reasonable and beneficial thing to mention. As a man, as a foster parent, fucking livid. There are literally millions of kids that never asked to be here, living their shittiest lives, and will probably never have a home, but sure, let's just add more to that. I'd say that it's time for these Republicans to start adopting/fostering kids, but I'm afraid of who they'd turn them into. I think America needs a Lysistrata month. Acura sex strike. Not happy at all. A president who didn't win the popular vote was able to shape the Supreme Court to a side that doesn't represent the country, and they overturned something a majority of Americans support. It all makes no sense. I feel very similarly to how I felt on 1/6 numb, and sad. I live in TN and my wife and I were considering a move before, but now it's a given as we want children and I don't want to roll the dice on my wife being given a criminal sentence or a death sentence for an ectopic pregnancy. Knowing that the women in my life are now being treated as an underclass with decreased rights is deeply unsettling. Also, helplessness. Even if we move to a blue state in self-interest, I know there are many who lack the means to do so. And I know that the more blue voters that leave red states, the more purple states will turn red. The slippery slope doesn't seem like such a fallacy anymore. As horrible as this is, we have only seen the tip of the iceberg in terms of what this court is willing to do. Within the next 5 years, this country will be almost unrecognizable from today. I'm 53 and already snipped, so abortion being outlawed won't affect me in a direct way. However, I have 2 daughters, one of which is 20 and the other is 18. I worry for their future. Angry. It's obviously a huge miscarriage of justice. Once again the minority voice in this country got its way. And as a veteran, I feel betrayed. My friends and I sacrificed to protect our freedoms. To have the highest court in the land pull this obviously partisan move makes it feel pointless. Sick. Women have died because they couldn't get a medically necessary abortion. I'm also sick because my rights, marriage equality, it being legal to be gay, are next on the chopping block. All straight people should be alarmed, since access to birth control is also on the chopping block. Funny how Clarence Thomas conveniently left out Loving vs Virginia from his dissent, since that would affect his marriage. Upset really. This has far-reaching societal implications that we will continue to see in the United States for the next 20 to 25 years if it isn't turned back. Also, as a kid I always saw the Supreme Court as this beacon of justice, equality and righteousness. Shit is decaying like the lifelong justices that sit there. This is horrible for everyone. Think about it. The government can force women to have rape babies against their will. If the government has that power, where will they stop? Making something illegal doesn't make it magically disappear. It becomes more dangerous and risky for all involved. Prohibition doesn't work. Fucking disgusted. My ex-girlfriend got an abortion when she was 22 and I was 27. I had just started chemotherapy and we didn't know if I was gonna make it. It would have been a terrible burden for her and I to raise a child and fight cancer at the same time. The child would have also suffered from the stress we were going through. It wasn't an easy decision to make, it was the right one. This affects us too. This is a matter of autonomy and possession of one's body. We should be angry about this and watch what liberties the oligarchs use this to deprive us of. My wife went through an ectopic pregnancy and it required an abortion procedure to sort it out. Without that procedure she would have been rendered unable to have kids in the future. That was 6 years ago. We are now expecting our first in a few months. It really pisses me off that we are even having this conversation in 2022. I believe in my body, my choice, and will 110% fight for that. I can barely see or think straight. I'm so furious. My opinion on it is that it's none of my fucking business what another woman does with her body, and it should never ever be anybody's business other than herself. Never once has a woman having an abortion affected my life whatsoever. I mourn for my wife, my 1-month-old daughter, all my family who are women. It makes me nauseous that a rapist has more rights and protections than my 1-month-old daughter. Fuck this government. Fuck the Republicans who made this possible. Fuck the Democrats who act like a bunch of pussies and refuse to play dirty like their political counterparts. The R's have cards up their sleeves and the D's just sit there and go, no please, don't do that, that's not right, please, I will not stand for this. All in all, I'm absolutely terrified of the country my children will grow up in. I personally feel that this is all BS and has nothing to do with morality at the moment. These people just decided to take away existing rights from millions of Americans. And that is not okay with me. I feel happy that I'm not American. But I feel incredibly sad for my friends that are, and hope that these American decisions don't start coming my way. More importantly, what are you going to do about it? This is not just the woman's problem. Mad as hell, even though I knew it was coming. I hate it. Everyone should hate it. Taking away freedom is a real problem in this country. We need more freedom, not less. It's causing me to leave the faith. Christians and religious people are largely behind this. Pro-life fucks, how many of you hypocrites are lining up to adopt or foster unwanted children after this announcement? How many of you can I count on at the local homeless shelter next week? Our cook resigned, and I need volunteers every day. This is a huge step backward for everyone. Embarrassed. Thoroughly. The fact that my pistol is more protected than my girlfriend makes me fucking sick. Furious. Anyone who loves the mothers, sisters, daughters, and spouses in their lives should be too. Dejected but ready to be an ally more than ever before. Stay together. As a bisexual man, terrified cause Thomas said gay marriage is next. Really happy I live in the UK. I mean, we've got some problems, but holy shit, at least we're not at the mercy of religious fundamentalism. We purged that a few hundred years ago. It's kinda the whole reason the US exists, actually. I feel angry. I hope citizens of US fight this stupid ruling. Bothered that people care this much about what others do in their private lives. You don't have to agree with what people do, but you do have to mind your own business.